for another session for Modernizing Package Distribution with Jamf Cloud Distribution Service 2.0. It's easy for me to say. With Austin and Travis. Can we have a big hand for them, please?
Thank you, everyone. So very excited to talk about modernizing the JCDS and coming out with JCDS 2.0, as I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for some of this. So very, very excited to disclose some of the things that we're going to be talking about. So my name is Travis Senor. I am part of the product team at Jamf. Been around the product area and support area through a number of years, but yeah. Austin?
Yep, I'm Austin Stewart. I'm also in the product area. I work directly with the team that develops JCDS and works on it, so very excited.
All right, so kind of going over the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about like what are distribution points, just high level. We'll give an overview of the different types that we offer and also go into what the Jamf Cloud Distribution Service is. I'll be referring that to the JCDS throughout the presentation as well. And then we'll get into some of the new improvements that we're coming out with JCDS, and Austin will be taking us in a little bit of a deep dive into some of the technical parts of it, along with providing us a demo. So what is a distribution point? It's all about enabling the IT admin the ability to host files for distribution across their fleet of mobile devices and computers. When we get into the different types of distribution points, Jamf enables IT admins with multiple options. The IT admin can have a local distribution point, like a SMB share. Jamf also supports a variety of third-party cloud distribution points as well. The AWS S3 integration, Rackspace, and Akamai Net Storage. These types of DPs are available whether your Jamf environment is hosted in the cloud or on-prem. The third option is Jamf's own cloud distribution service, and one that we offer for our Jamf Cloud hosted customers. And then lastly, a distribution point can be used in combination with or in place of a locally hosted file share distribution point, and this also includes the JCDS. As far as like what content we can upload into a distribution service, we are able to host files such as packages like your mission critical apps, such as the Adobe Suite, operating systems as well. And then also on both the macOS and iOS side, we're get into some of the in-house apps and also the in-house books. And so also wanted to just call out again, like the JCDS and the distribution points do serve both macOS and iOS support. So focusing in on the JCDS, already gave a little bit of a high-level overview about what distribution points are and what Jamf supports, and now really want to get into the good stuff around Jamf Cloud Distribution Service. Also, again, just referring it as JCDS. So putting some history and vision behind the JCDS, in 2016, and as Jamf was beginning to support Jamf Pro in the cloud, we wanted to enable Jamf Cloud hosted distribution service as well, so that admins could use to store their digital content. This is really important to Jamf because we feel strongly that admins shouldn't have to worry about managing and maintaining their infrastructure. Rather, Jamf strives to give that time back to admins so they can focus on supporting their end users and their Apple ecosystem. However, over the years, as Jamf has continued to grow and also digital packages sizes overall have continued to increase, customers have experienced a common challenge with the current JCDS. So some of those common challenges include large package upload failures, overall performance degradation, friction when re-uploading packages, and then needless to say, there's a clear opportunity for Jamf to improve the experience with JCDS. So kind of talking through those opportunities, I must first say that Jamf Nation admin community is fantastic. You guys are really awesome at providing product and engineering feedback that we need to help us not only iterate on the current JCDS over the years, but also to really take that feedback and identify new opportunities for future improvements too. In fact, very excited to announce that over the last couple of years, Jamf engineering has been really hard at work at taking in that feedback and continuing on the journey to modernize JCDS. So introducing JCDS 2.0, this technology is a modern cloud distribution service while keeping security top of mind. JCDS 2.0 not only solves critical challenges admins have faced with JCDS 1, but introduces new features admins and partners we believe will really enjoy. To talk about the benefits of JCDS 2.0 more and showcase this great new tech through a demo will be Austin Stewart, a Jamf Pro Senior Product Owner. Austin?
Yes. Thank you, Travis. So before getting into diagrams and demos and stuff like that, I want to talk a little bit about JCDS 2 at the high level. So JCDS has been completely rebuilt from the ground up using modern technologies. 2 years in the making, and the goal was to solve some major customer requests. The service is entirely secured inside of Jamf Cloud. It only takes minutes to set up on your instance. Now, in order to use JCDS 2, there are some requirements. Travis already touched on this is a Jamf Cloud hosted option. And so otherwise, we also rely on CSA, Cloud Service Connection Token. And so we exchange that with that service. That way, just able to keep it secure along with some of our other offerings. Otherwise, the other main thing to note, if you have port or IP filtering on your network, there are some rules based around that, getting additional IPs onto your wait list. It is a Jamf hosted thing, but there are different IPs that may be blocked. So all communication with JCDS is over SSL. It uses port 443. Storage of packages, books, and in-house apps are all secured with at-rest encryption in JCDS. And then with JCDS 2.0, we are also introducing a way to programmatically interact with JCDS, and we're going to be doing some publicly available APIs. So let's cover the basics of communication with JCDS and explore how to use the APIs. So we're going to start with the download process here. And so there's a few different steps here, right? First, when a policy is saved in scope, Jamf Pro is starting the process and a secured URL is sent to the device. So that's step one. Step two, device connects to Jamf Pro using that secured URL, and that's going to initiate our download. Step three is Jamf Pro is going to connect to JCDS and request a signed URL from there. Step four is JCDS generates a signed URL. And then step five is it returns the signed URL to Jamf Pro. So a little bit of back and forth there. Step six, we're then having the signed per device URL. It's going to be delivered to the end user device with the policy that you've set up. And then step seven is the end user device is going to communicate directly with JCDS and initiate the download from the CloudFront signed URL. Last couple steps, 8, if this is the first download of the file or it's just no longer cached in the edge location, the file is going to need to be retrieved again from S3 and then cached. Step 9 is the file's downloaded onto the end user device. So our time to live on that is going to be a 12-hour URL. And yeah, that's how that process is gonna go. Next up, we do have uploads. So as Travis mentioned, we have 3 different things we can upload, starting with ebooks and in-house apps here. The browser session in the Jamf Pro UI, it's going to start the process. You're going to navigate to that page. We're going to show that a little bit with packages later. Jamf Pro is going to return the upload page. That's step 2. 3 is that the user is going to select the file that they want to upload, of course. The browser is going to communicate with the Jamf Pro server to complete that upload process, and the file is sent to JCDS. On step 4, Jamf Pro securely communicates with JCDS and requests credentials to upload that ebook or that app to JCDS. Step 5 is the credentials are returned to Jamf Pro, and that's going to be used to upload the file to JCDS. And then step 6, there's kind of a background process there, right, that runs to move the uploaded ebooks and the in-house apps into JCDS. Step 7, this is a really key part, especially when looking at the security. We are using SHA-256 and MD5 hash to index these files for permanent storage. And then so for packages here, so the browser session, step one, the browser session starts the process by navigating to a page for uploading to JCDS. That may be the packages settings page, could be the books or mobile apps page. Step two, Jamf Pro is going to return the upload page user interface. Step three, the user selects the file in the browsers. The browser is going to communicate with JCDS and again start that upload. Step four, the credentials are returned again to the browser session, and those are going to be used to upload the files to our S3. Step five, again, the file is uploaded to the temporary S3 storage. And step six, again, we're using the SHA-256 and MD5 hash to index the file for permanent storage. And then we have the API-based upload. And so this is a little bit different. It doesn't use Jamf Pro as a tunnel for directly communicating with JCDS. And so step one, an API client of integration using the API is going to start the process by requesting the credentials. And so then step two, Jamf Pro on the back end is going to request those credentials to be generated from JCDS so that we can upload the file. Step three is JCDS is going to return those credentials, of course. Step four is that they're used to upload the file and are returned to the API client. And then step five is actually, again, using the credentials to upload. Again, this is all through the API. You're going to be able to do it. The file goes right to JCDS. And then in step six, again, just want to make sure this is clear. We are using SHA-256 and MD5 to hash and index those. So we've talked about the workflows. We've looked at some diagrams, but I do actually have some demos to show off. And so we're going to start with enabling JCDS and uploading packages in the Jamf Pro UI. So I'm going to start by navigating to the global settings page in Jamf Pro under server. We're going to go to cloud distribution points. Then, of course, we need to say, hey, we're going to edit the page, and we're going to say, I want Jamf Cloud to be my distribution point. I can then hit save. We'll check the box. We're going to hit save. There we go. And so after clicking save, I can navigate to a page to upload a file, package, or ebook. I'm going directly to the packages link. And then from the packages page, I'm providing a title for my package and then selecting my package for distribution. After the upload is complete, I will then save. It's going to take a second to upload. There we go. And then we save it. The package is now stored on JCDS2, and I can distribute this package using a policy. So you'll see this is a very similar workflow as to what it was before, but underlying, it is JCDS2 now going through. And so now to look at something a little different. So we want to demo the API, and we're going to start with our GET request to get a list of files. So I'm using Postman here. I have an environment set up for demonstration purposes, and I'm going to start connecting to this instance, getting a bearer token, all of that fun stuff. After I have my bearer token obtained for ongoing communication with Jamf Pro, I'm going to send the GET to my to my Jamf Pro, which will then communicate with JCDS. So it comes back in a JSON format. I can run a basic visualization post-processor in Postman to put that response in a table, make it a little bit more friendly to read. And so you can see some of our returns there. Obviously, package name is a big one that we're going to be using, and then some of the hash values to identify it. So next, we want to look at downloading a file. And so, again, the endpoint's there. And we'll be putting out documentation as well once we fully launch this on these endpoints. But for now, from our previous example, we already have the valid bearer token, so I'm not getting that again. I look at my retrieve file list, and I'm trying to get a certain ebook out of JCDS. So I'm going to send the GET to my Jamf Cloud instance. And I have a path variable set up for file name, so I can kind of put whatever I want in there. And then you'll see I get a response with a signed URL that can be used to download the file from CloudFront directly. You can take the URL, plug it into Chrome. And we should have the download right there. Beautiful. And now we have that file locally. You can make modifications to it or do whatever we need to do. Our next is deleting. So sometimes you upload a package and you don't need it anymore. So we're going to want it to delete that file. Very similar to the previous. We're sending a delete command instead of that git. And so again, look for one. We're going to choose. And then again, we have it as a path variable. So we're kind of playing with some of that. But we're able to change the path variable to be the correct file name. And then we're going to delete the file. And we get a success request or a success response. You can then rerun the git on the files, and you will not see that file in the list anymore. So next, so we've talked about getting files and deleting files, but we want to upload files to JCDS. And so we're going to want to, if we want to do that directly, we can do that with this API. So it's a two-step process. We're going to first call a post command on the Jamf Pro APIs, upload the file to the Amazon S3 in a second step. So first we're posting to v1 JCDS files, and the credentials I need to now post in directly. Oh, I think I skipped through a little on accident. There we go, okay. So yeah, we're able to, sorry, the clicker's acting. Okay. So again, we're going to be posting so that we can get our credentials here. And these are our S3 credentials. We blurred ours out, obviously. And so these are the S3 credentials that you can use. There's an access key ID, expiration. Again, this is the 12-hour time to live. Secret access key, stuff like that. And then we put it in here, and we're able in Postman to put a specific file in. We're doing a new book.pdf here. And so we're able to hit send. And we get the 200 OK. Beautiful. The Postman test script saves a lot of stuff. So there's a little bit of jumping around on that, but using Postman, we were able to successfully upload that file using just the API. And so we can use Amazon S3 API to put the file directly into JCDS2, so that's not even a Jamf Pro API, that is directly with Amazon. And then the S3 API URL is gonna have our bucket name and the path that was stored, and things like that. So those were our demos. I do want to also call out, we do have some third-party extensions that we've been able to work with, and so the Jamf package uploader, it's a processor for use with auto package. It was developed by Graham Pugh, who's already been updating his work to work with JCDS2 with the API endpoints. The QR code that you see on the screen goes directly to his blog. He does have a post about JCDS2 up there with a new JCDS2 mode flag, and then that can be used with the endpoints so that you can use the uploader. We also have worked with Leslie Helou, and I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. They've also been working on updating Jamf CPR. And an update to that app will be released soon after JCDS2 is fully enabled. And we look forward to seeing how you use JCDS2 APIs in your content distribution workflows. I do want to call out, so we've deployed to sandbox accounts, RC accounts, beta accounts, things like that. We are not fully live in production right now, but we are hoping to release to all regions soon. We'll be starting in the US and we'll be moving around the world with that. So that is hopefully coming up soon here. And that was kind of all I had today. Thank you for, again, like Travis mentioned, you all gave really great input and really great feature requests. As we worked on modernizing JCDS 2, we took those into consideration and built in a lot of these new features. The API is one that I'm most excited about personally. I think that's really going to give admins and third-party developers the ability to really dive in and make JCDS the experience that we know it can and should be for y'all. So if you have any feedback on additional improvements to JCDS, please be sure to provide feedback to us on Jamf Nation via the idea portal. Otherwise, we are going to be taking questions here, I think, as well. So.
Yeah, we've got plenty of questions here. I had one main job to do before and I failed to do it, unfortunately, gents. I was supposed to remind you all about the JNUC app for submitting questions, but lots of people have done so anyway. So if you open up the app, if you've got any questions, you can pop them in there, and then it means that everybody can vote on them and add them there. So we've got plenty of questions anyway, though, so I don't think we're going to be stuck. So the first one from Graham Pugh. Any timeline for replacing the functionality in Jamf Admin so that it can be deprecated?
Sure. So we are deprecating Jamf Admin, and so right now we're not. The workflow is going to need to change there. I don't think that we're planning on directly supporting Jamf Admin with this, but we're going to be, hopefully with the API and some other things, we're going to be able to support those workflows.
Excellent, thank you. Next one is from Rich Troughton, asking, is Jamf planning to release any command line tools for uploading installer packages to JCDS 2.0 distribution points? For context, there are community-built tools for this, but nothing I know of which are built and supported by Jamf themselves.
Nothing right off the bat. And so we have the API, and you're able to use that through the command line. But trying to read a little deeper into the question, there's nothing natively command line that we're doing to try and do that right now. But that's great feedback. Would love to see some more information about that and talk about it.
Okay, next question from regular caller, Rich Troughton. Is there a migration path for migration from a cloud distribution point, which is not JCDS 1.0 or 2.0, to a JCDS 2.0 distribution point? For context, you can currently only have one cloud distribution point of any kind, so there is no obvious path for migration from one type of cloud distribution point to another type.
Sure. So we do not have a direct Jamf-provided migration path right now to migrate from a non-JCDS to JCDS 2. We have built out the migration between JCDS 1 and JCDS 2, and that is kind of an automatic process you won't need to enable. Between any other endpoint in JCDS 2, talk to professional services, I would think, would be our best option if you need help with that.
Yep, cool. All right, another question from Rich. Is it possible to download installer packages via the API? For context, I would like to download installer packages to a backup location before clearing obsolete installer packages from my distribution point.
So that's not natively in through the API. You can download the package as we saw, but getting it onto the device and getting it to install, that would be a separate workflow. Right now, we do that primarily through packages, the other options that we've discussed. But I can definitely see somebody writing a script to do something like that. So not something we have today, but I'd love to see if anybody builds something like that, or that's definitely something we could look at.
Excellent. Question from Anonymous. Are there any limitations to file size with JCDS 2.0? There
are no limitations to file size in JCDS 2.0.
Can we get a round of applause for that?
That was a big item that we've heard customers talk about. We know that there's the limitation on JCDS 1. We wanted to remove that, so we did.
Excellent. Another one from Rich. Is it possible to download installer packages via the API? Oh, we've already done that one. Apologies, sorry.
So no.
So good we asked it twice. One from Sean Hansel. Are the new JCDS 2.0 API endpoints exclusive to Jamf Pro 11? Will they be made available in a release of Jamf Pro 10?
Sure. So the APIs are usable today if you have JCDS 2 enabled, and so we are primarily supporting JCDS with Jamf Pro 11. The endpoints exist, but on Jamf Pro 10, 48, and later. But really, for the best experience, we're looking at Jamf Pro 11 to be tied to for JCDS 2.
Okay, we have more. Another one from Anonymous. Do packages get zipped when using API upload?
That is a great question that I should probably know the answer to. I'm not 100% confident. I don't believe so, but I would need to triple check, and so I can follow up with that.
We do have a comment from David on here that says
Perfect.
no.
Yes.
So I think that might have been answered in the comments.
I already know what David that is. He's absolutely correct. So.
Right. Have a look at this next one. What precautions are in place to ensure that the migration from JCDS 1 to JCDS 2 happens without file or package problems such as old versions?
Sure. So our migration path was basically we were just trying to make sure we migrated every file. We are checking every file to make sure they all moved over. And I'll be honest, there are some that didn't, and we've been working to reach out to those admins for their instance to notify them, say, hey, you know, this file didn't quite migrate over. We think there's an issue with it. Is this important? And we're trying to go that route. So if you haven't heard from us on it, you either could soon, but it's unlikely. I think we've reached out to just about everybody right now. And so otherwise, your file should be migrated successfully.
Will the API options for JCDS 2.0 be only for the Jamf Pro API, or are there endpoints being added to the classic API?
Just the Jamf Pro API today.
I'm struggling to keep up with the speed of these answers here.
I can elongate them. I can talk for 10 hours about something.
Please do. Will we see API support for other cloud distribution services such as Akamai or Customer's Own S3 buckets?
Sure. So right now, we do not have that planned with this update. That doesn't mean it can never happen in the future, but for this JCDS 2 update, we are not touching the other distribution point options.
Will there be an automatic supported way to sync with an on-premise file distribution point?
At this point, JCDS 2 is still, just like JCDS 1, it was a cloud-only option, and so we're keeping it that way. We are not syncing with other distribution points, I don't believe. So.
Next question is, will on-premise setups get any improvements, or are there any future plans for bringing JCDS 2.0 to on-prem systems?
Nothing directly right now. Travis, I don't know if you have anything on that to add.
No, right now, yeah, we were focused with cloud distribution service and there. So maybe in the future, depending on feedback and what we get. But right now, the focus is on the cloud.
Okay. Will SSL HTTPS inspection break JCDS? Are the endpoints proxy aware?
It should not break JCDS. And I'm fairly technical, but proxy aware is maybe a little bit newer one for me. That's probably something I'd have to take back to the developers to double check on. Maybe David will comment on that one too, we'll see.
and if people did want to get you after the presentation for,
yes, yeah.
for that, or is there any way they can contact you remotely if they're attending from online?
Yeah. How are we having people contact us? That's a great question.
Yeah, reach out to your customer success rep for any questions, or if you want more information around JCDS 2, that would be the best route to go, and then they can always bring in the right product folks and so forth too. So.
Yeah, and they know, I mean, we've been communicating with them, and we've had some customers, again, in our beta, RC, and our sandbox accounts provide feedback that way, and we've been working hard. They all pretty much end up to me at some point to try to answer, at least the team. So yeah, we're definitely, for some of these more technical questions, we may have to go that route. But otherwise as well, find me this week and I'll be working to try to get answers to some of these as well.
Cool. Well, we do have more questions. So,
Sure.
How can I tell if I'm on JCDS 2.0 now?
So production accounts, there are very few production accounts that are actually using JCDS 2, so it's very likely you're not. We do not have a direct UI way to check. Our best way right now is if you hit the endpoint and it says no, then you're not enabled. The endpoints only work for JCDS 2, and so that's our way right now, but your production accounts should not be, or your production environments, I should say, would not be enabled for JCDS 2 most likely.
Yeah, no, and I'll add that was intentional, right? We didn't want to make the experience any different for the admin. We wanted it to be seamless all on the back end, so there wasn't any difference between JCDS 1 to JCDS 2.
Yeah, so kind of in the packages demo that I showed, I mean, that was the same way you've all probably been uploading packages for a long, long time. And so, like Travis said, we tried to make that hidden, seamless, and hopefully it doesn't, hopefully you don't notice if you're on 1 or 2, except 2 should be more reliable.
Great. Still plenty of questions on here. Can I just check with the folks at the back? How are we doing for time? Cool. We've got a bit of time left. How soon will the DB file upload endpoint be removed?
That is a great question. We do not have a set date for that right now.
This is a really good one. I was wondering this as well. Can you share your JCDS 2.0 Postman connections?
We can definitely talk about it. I think that's definitely an option. We do plan on doing a lot with our documentation in general with JCDS 2, and I think there's definitely options to include a Postman collection in there and provide that.
Yeah, and also similarly, like if you have questions about the script or how to connect with the APIs and so forth there, like customer success is going to be well equipped with being able to help and answer or be able to help find you answers too. So definitely don't want to leave anybody hanging as far as not knowing like how to leverage the APIs and so forth there. So if we need some examples for how to interact with it, yeah, happy to provide that.
Here's a question from Tony. You stressed you use a hash. Does that mean if 2 people upload the same package, are you storing 1 or 2 packages?
So we are storing 1 package for that, and it has different records. And so there's a handful of things that go into that, so it's kind of both. It could be the same or it could be different. It depends on a handful set of circumstances.
Would the public API support allow us to get keys for the CloudFront or S3 buckets to use native AWS CLI to do our own syncing with on-prem distribution points?
Yes, and so with the upload endpoint specifically, we are not through Jamf Pro API uploading the file directly. We are giving you the keys to Amazon, the AWS system there. So when you're uploading, that's going to be right through there. You can use the CLI if you want to. Otherwise, we've been just using Postman and API endpoints, but.
There's another one relating to on-prem distribution points. How does JCDS 2.0 work with on-prem distribution point synchronization? Are there any changes?
Yeah, so there will be changes upcoming. There's going to be more information being sent out here in the near future about how to interact and sync from cloud distribution to on-prem. So that communication will be sent out here in the near future.
What about package size here? So you mentioned the AWS URL time limit is 12 hours, but the Jamf Pro session timeout's really soon. So how to upload a big size package without getting the timeout?
Sure. So the package will still be uploading on the back end, and so it may time out on the web page, but we are renewing our tokens and we are going through the right processes to make sure that file will upload. And if you see any problems with that, definitely let us know, but it should be.
Can the download URL be removed or obscured from Jamf policy logs? For context, that information is visible in the jamf.log on endpoints, which may result in users being able to download their own copies of installers.
Sure, that's great feedback. We'll definitely look at that and make sure we're doing
MD5 hashing is known to have scenarios where collisions are possible. As such, why is it being used, and how will those potential scenarios be mitigated?
Sure. So we are using, besides MT5, we're also using SHA-256, and so we have not seen collisions happen yet. We are aware that they could happen. I think that too would maybe be a more technical item I'd have to take back to the team to get really into the nitty-gritty of it.
Another one relating to multiple files of the same name. Will I receive a prompt when uploading a file with the same name and it already exists?
Through the APIs, possibly. This is in development right now, and so we are making a few changes and a few tweaks based off customer feedback. That was one of them that we did hear quite a bit of, making sure that the admins are notified. And so right now, I can't tell you, but that is something that we would like to have for launch.
Can the download URL lifetime be controlled via an API?
Not currently. If that's something that would be of value, I mean, we can definitely talk about that.
Is there an ability to replace existing packages? We have a workflow to replace existing packages so that all site-level policies inherit to the new package automatically.
Yes, and so that kind of goes into the naming piece of it as well. And we've heard a few workflows where admins are using the same file name over and over to try to replace packages or to try to sideload packages, or doing other workflows to do stuff like that. And so we are taking some of that feedback that we've got from our JCDS 2 testing and making a few modifications to make sure that those workflows will remain unbroken.
There's a question about how soon will this be available? Is it automatic with Jamf Pro 11?
It is not automatic with Jamf Pro 11, so JCDS is a separate product, but a lot of the functionality and improvements will be on the Jamf Pro side are going to be released in Jamf Pro 11. And so JCDS 2 will be enabled separately, and you'll be getting notifications when that happens.
Does JCDS 2 upload support zip files? For context, bundle-style packages have until now only been supported when zipped before or during upload.
I can say confidently no, because you asked that earlier.
Whoops. So many questions, it's hard to keep track of them.
I'm glad. It's really exciting to hear and see all the excitement, and I know hopefully I'm getting through your questions good. Some of these really technical ones I need to take back, but.
I've got a few more for you there. There's come up again about the new maximum upload file size. I think we covered that in a previous question, that there wasn't going to be.
Yep, yeah, so yeah, and there really is no maximum upload, and there's benefits and risks to that, right? Obviously, but you know, I mean, one of the big ones, right, Adobe, and doing that whole suite, that's a large upload, and we've heard that one a lot. There's other large packages that people have wanted to upload. You know, in 2023, packages are larger than they used to be when we first built JCDS. And so, you know, it wasn't something that we felt we needed then, but right now we hear what our admins are saying and that we need to allow whatever size file. It's obviously going to take a lot longer. And so, you know, don't expect a 50 gig file to take 30 seconds or something, but yeah, we did not put a file cap on there.
And I think well, unless there's any more filtering, this might be the last one, so we're going to end on a good technical one for you here.
All right.
Prepare yourself. Is caching going to be enabled on JCDS 2.0? If so, how long? For context, CloudFront by default expires files from cache after 24 hours, and my experience has been that replacing an installer package on an AWS-hosted cloud distribution point with an identically named installer package results in a package which may not pass verification on download until the installer's cache expiration has occurred.
Yes, so we are caching the files, and so I think I mentioned a little bit of it, but I did not dive too far in. So we are caching them for a certain amount of time. I don't have the specific time. I believe we're staying with the 24 hours, but I would have to look at the console to be 100% sure of that. But we are caching the files so that, you know, if you have a user who, an end user, downloads the file, and then the next one, the next one, the next one. That way we don't have to wait that entire time for the files to be pulled to the front. So we do have caching, and we will likely document the time, or I will find it out and try to share that information.
Wonderful. And a few more questions did sneak in, so I look foolish. Are downloads and or uploads resumable in case of network interruptions?
Not currently. We did not add resumable uploads, but that's good feedback. I'll take that back to the team.
Just having a look through. We've got a couple other ones here. I think there's one here, saying about Jamf admin offers syncing between local and Jamf Cloud Distribution Service. Could you shed any light on what the new system will be for doing that replication?
Yeah, so there'll be more information in the future about like how we're going to replicate. Obviously, with the deprecation of Jamf admin, we understand some of those workflows that are in there are critical, and so we're evaluating some options and so forth there. So more information to come on how that may come about.
Wonderful. Well, that takes us to the end of the questions there. Thank you so much. There were some really amazing ones. Can we have another round of applause for Austin and Travis, please?
Thank you.